Live from Lagos, Nigeria, this is still Enterprise Morning on Enterprise Television, and now to our main conversation for today. The federal government recently started the construction of the 700-kilometer Lagos-Calabar coastal road, which is being done by High-Tech Construction Company Limited. The Chagori Group is the firm's parent company. Well, that is the first bit. Now, in addition to that, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar claims Sheyi Tinubu, President Bola Tinubu's son, is a director on the board of CDK Integrated Industries, a subsidiary of the Chagori Group, faulting the award of contract for the Lagos-Calabar coastal road. The federal government recently started the construction of the 700-kilometer Lagos-Calabar coastal road, which is being done by High-Tech Construction Company Limited. The Chagori Group is the firm's parent company. If the picture is getting clearer, let's then add that while the commencement of construction of the road has continued to elicit criticism from several quarters, Atiku, who is one of the fiercest oppositions to the project, claimed that since Sheyi Tinubu is on the board of CDK, the award of the contract to High-Tech Construction Company Limited amounts to a conflict of interest. He also accused President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of rushing to award the contract for the road, saying the country has other pressing needs to address. Quite an argument, if you asked me. The federal government recently began the demolition of structures for the project, but Atiku has faulted the move, saying it sends a bad signal to investors. And still with me in the studios is Cyril Abaku. Thank you so very much for hanging around with us. Now, let us get into the meaty part of this discussion. I love drawing comparison, and if you may, I would love us to maybe take ourselves to the United States of America. According to Reuters here, it says during this time, the board of the Ukrainian largest natural gas company, Hunter Biden, is the son, of course, of the former U.S. vice president, which is the president now, was regarded as a helpful non-executive director with a powerful name, according to people familiar with Biden's role at the company. Biden's role at Burisma Holdings Limited has come under intense scrutiny following unsupported accusations by U.S. President Donald Trump that Joe Biden improperly tried to help his son's business interest in Ukraine, which is almost the same with what we have in today. Atiku Abubakar is accusing the president, of helping his son, conflict of interest, in order to ensure that high-tech, passes the bid, and currently they are handling the Lagos-Calabar coastal highway. The question is, going by the international definition of conflict of interest, isn't this enough conflict of interest, if you ask me?
It's more than enough. It's more than enough. Let's even put it out properly. I like it the way you put it in your intro, but let me also reiterate it. The Chagoris have an interest in CDK. CDK makes tiles and sanitary towels. The president's son is on the board of CDK. Just 5 board members. The president's son is there. Then, the president's son is not the president. He is the president's son. Now, we don't know what level of involvement the son has. Is it a family concern? Is it a, But being the president's son, naturally, the son has access to the president in ways that others wouldn't have.
Very true.
Now, Chagori, CDK is not building the coastal highway. The Chagoris are the parent owners of High-Tech. So the Chagoris have a leg in High-Tech and another leg in CDK. The president's son is in CDK. The Chagoris have a leg in CDK, and their other leg, High-Tech, is the one constructing the Lagos-Calabar coastal highway. People who don't understand how international finance and all these things work will think it is remote. It is not remote. This is all you need a lot of times to pull favors. Now, especially because in the way and manner that High-Tech got the Lagos-Calabar coastal highway contract, there was no bidding process, as far as we know. So, what other explanation do you want us to come to, other than that CDK, whoever, what was here, influenced what happened to this one? That is the logical conclusion we are made to come to. So it is in order, they didn't even say corruption. They said conflict of interest, either material or probable. But let's even come to the fact that the president, that there was no involvement of what is here in what happened here. A manager can say, we have it, it is clean, they didn't influence us, we gave them a contract, but there was no bidding, right? Now, even if there was a bidding, there were tenders, and High-Tech eventually got the contract for what this person in the other company would have been made to resign, or High-Tech probably understanding the fallout in the public space to avoid any appurtenance of corruption will know better than to put his foot forward for the project. But we have seen the whole Lagos-Calabar project being shrouded in more mystery than necessary. For example, where is the IEA for the project? The environmental impact assessment, where is it? From what we understand, they have not even completed that. Number two, when we talk about the funding for the project, now let me ask, who is funding this project? Because over the years, it was conceived as a PPP, BOT, build, operate and transfer. Now all of a sudden, the government is about to fund the project.
Despite the fact that they had said they were going to place a toll on it.
So, with all of these unclear issues, it now, and the federal government has not been able to categorically address the question of when were the tenders received, when did the bidding process take place, and what was the yardstick or criteria, or even criterion, for example, on which High-Tech was chosen as the preferred candidate for the project. Maybe the viewer may want to know that High-Tech, for example, in Lagos, has been known to undertake a lot of construction projects. And it is some of these projects that have been noted to be the outstanding achievements of Mr. President while he was in Lagos. So all this while, the
blue rail, the red.
So all this while,
real project
clearly then, it goes to show that the president perhaps knows High-Tech very well, is pleased with their work and with what they've done in Lagos, and has perhaps now gone over and above himself to award the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project to them.
Yes, which is not bad, knowing that the most important thing is get the job done. But let's.
Sorry, Henry.
Yes.
The most important thing cannot be to get the job done.
Okay.
You see, yes, people say that Abuja is not Lagos, but it's never Abuja or Lagos. Even if it was in Lagos, there must be due process. Okay. The reason why we moved from the monarchies to democracy is not because monarchies cannot develop countries. Look at Saudi Arabia, for example. They are developing. They are, the Saudis are advanced. Their military, technology. Within Saudi Arabia, we are told that their petroleum in Saudi Arabia goes through a technology where anything that drops anywhere, there's a monitor, there's a place where they say, and here they're not a democracy. Dubai, that we all go to, they're not a democracy. But we love to go there, right? Because anywhere you smell something good or nice, you go. But the point we made is that the reason we moved from the monarchies to democracy is because anywhere any man has absolute powers, abuse is inevitable. True. It means somebody can come to me and say, "This your house is ours." Is man and you can't seek redress. The government can come to me and say, "Your wristwatch is ours." You can't seek redress. Do you want that kind of country, sir? I don't think you do. So this is the problem. If you must award the contract to anybody, we must know exactly how that contract was awarded. We cannot be a country of privileged families. Your family is have more privilege than a family. What then is the hope of the poor coming out of poverty and becoming also rich? It means there's no hope, because the rich will forever rule it over the poor.
Very true.
So this is why democracy is in place, to make sure that every man and every individual born on our soil must have equal opportunity and equal right to attain. I was talking about education and power earlier. Okay, there are countries where, because of the kind of governments they run, the government has the power to cap how educated you can be. And you can't question them. You can't question them. Okay? So in a democracy, otherwise, if the president or a governor awards a contract the way he likes, what is the guarantee that someone else will not come tomorrow and award it to himself? Why don't we have rules? So yes, I agree, the job needs to be done, but not in these circumstances. There must also be a proper way of getting the job done by making sure that the best person in a bidding process, in a transparent and open bidding process, gets the job. Right. Under the military, we used to have them say people should come and bid for something. When you they say if you don't get out of this place, because they've already, even before they announced it, they've given it to their friends. Who wants that? And what is the guarantee? I mean, it's a whole lot.
All right. So I'd love us to take a read, from the president's chief's spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga. And he said, and I quote, "The fact that his father, that is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is now the president of Nigeria does not disqualify Sheyi from pursuing legitimate business interest." It's asserted, stating that the Chagori are minority shareholders in the company and only one member of the clan is on his 5-man board. That's coming from Bayo Onanuga. You all know Bayo Onanuga so very well. This is a man who has, crisscrossed, what we have today as democracy. No one understands this system, ethics, leadership, and how democracy should work. I want to believe not better than Bayo Onanuga. Now, for him to defend what you are saying is false, what do you think is happening?
Let me say up front, Mr. Onanuga is an elder, is a senior statesman, he's a journalist, a very, very senior one at that, whom I hold in the highest respect. He has a place in our hearts and in journalism in Nigeria that will be difficult to erase. Yes, but having said that, I mean, it's fair and square. We're a democracy, so we can agree, we can disagree, we can hold our opinions. This is the point I was making. When this sort of thing happens, they start asking, which rule book says what? But we know, frankly, that leadership thrives essentially on intelligence. Call it emotional intelligence, political intelligence, any kind of intelligence it is. When you know what the potential fallout of certain things will be, a leader must rise above the fray. You've been elected, even if it costs you, children, family members, whatever it is, it costs you. We all saw when former president was, now President Biden, I think either his wife or his son was undertake a surgery. I think in the US, he had to wait for his salary to come in first. There was nothing like, because I'm president, I can do it anyhow. Oh, sorry, because I'm vice president, I can do it anyhow. Till today, if the American president throws up in his car or in his office, it is from his pocket. He will pay for it. Even the food he eats in the White House, he pays for it. You understand? Yeah. So,
and his wife, who is a lecturer, still depends on her
salary.
Wage, yeah.
So, it is important for us to understand that when you're in leadership, sometimes, even when certain things, look, for the sake of appearances, for the sake of image, you must do well to be like Caesar's wife, to stay above the fray. The fact that leadership has failed us in this country is the reason why people will begin to say, but if the president was a teacher to give the stage of the Independence Day address, which law says he cannot do it that way? You understand? The other day it was Minister Tunji Ojo, whose company, he said he has resigned. You see the point? He had resigned, but his wife was on the board or was one of the company, and they were getting a contract from a federal government. How do you want to convince Nigerians? You see, the implication is this. It is because the ballot in this country does not really have a voice. Otherwise, you give all your arguments. When election day comes, you realize that Kaki and lead are not the same things. So to avoid any sort of electoral embarrassment, they know better than to tell us things that they know we won't believe. You understand? The consequence will come on will surely come on election day. So it is to avoid all these things that lead. I keep saying it, leaders, not just managers. The other day it was the former president Buhari. His own chief of army staff died in battle, died in active service. When they had to hold the man's funeral in Abuja, Buhari was not there. Buhari was absent.
Could be security
and
measure.
Please, I don't want to use incontinental language. Incontinental. When they asked, when people were on TV defending the thing, that no law said they must be there, that the president didn't, if the president didn't, it didn't mean anything. And this is how you destroy your country, and you want to teach your children values. How, in which book is it written that if your son like you should spank him? In which book is it written that if your daughter misbehaved, you should discipline her? In which book is it written? Is there any law that says constitution of Nigeria how to raise children? It's not there. But by morals and values, you know what to do. So when the president refuses to attend the funeral of his own service chiefs, of the head of the army, they may say, the manager may say, well, I would have been there, but there's no rule book that says I should be there. The leader, not manager, the leader knows that this sort of thing can happen and I will not be there. I am compelled by a moral duty to be there.
All right, so talking about,
because I am commander-in-chief of the armed forces. These men are my sub-commander. Why won't I be there to support them and their families? Why did President Bola Tinubu now say that those who died in Okuama, that they were giving them scholarship to children and so on? Which, if the president didn't do it, can anybody take him to court? I'm asking. Could anybody have taken him to court if he didn't do it?
No, never.
Exactly. Why he was compelled to these things. If we have to write everything in black and white, it means that we are still morons. It means we're still in the neonatal age. It means that we've not yet civilized and that we've not yet understood values and leadership and whatever it takes to move our society forward. So the argument, yes, I mean I understand it. It may be raising a technical point, but it does not, for me, respectfully speaking to Mr. Nanuga, I think that we can do much better. Because in the end, the president's son is in CDK. The Shagoris are in CDK. Now the Shagoris are also in high-tech. And high-tech wasn't given this job competitively. Nobody competed with them. We woke up to hear that the job had been given to high-tech. How far? Why wouldn't you begin to... So when you want to know how did they get the job, wouldn't you begin to put one and one together?
All right, so speaking about putting one and one together, and you did raise a very important, stuff here. You said image is very important. It's often said that he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. Let's all remember that between 1999 and 2007, then Atiku Abubakar was the vice president of the country. At that time, he was the chairman of the National Council on Privatization. And it stated that he had the opportunity of selling 145 state-owned enterprises, which he did sell to his cronies. Now, why would Atiku Abubakar be the best person to come chastise someone when he himself had equally been part of the same issue he's trying to chastise about? Well,
let's be careful because we can't say he did it.
But it is in the public domain, it's all over.
A court has not held him to account. A court has not convicted him for it, right? All of this is hearsay. Now, but even if it were true, I would have expected that the same government he has been hounding restlessly or relentlessly should have the evidence, right? They should haul him before a court. The FCC is there. They should get the evidence that he was involved in malfeasance and malpractice, right? And take him to the FCC. Charge him to court, so that if only to make him keep quiet, he will keep quiet, right? So they should do that. The fact that they never even done it, I'm surprised. If indeed there's evidence for them to prosecute him, they should go ahead and do it.
Because I think it's very important for me to state here that what I actually paraphrased was actually made known by Bayo himself.
Look,
Onanuga.
Maybe Uncle Bayo didn't go far enough to even tell us that the president and Mr. Atiku had been business partners in the past. Business partners, political allies in the past. It's open. Everybody knows that. All right? Maybe it's possible that what you think is oil on one finger, perhaps it's on all the other fingers.
So we might just call this some sort of political shenanigan.
If you like, go to court. If they like, take Atiku to court. When he begin to talk, and then we begin to trace who and who benefited from the things, so-called things he sold, right? You don't get my the president. Let me come clear now. The president, Mr. Atiku, used to be best friends before. best friends, which means they know each other's ins and outs. I want to believe. So if the government is bold enough, take Atiku to court and let him begin to talk. Let's hear everything that we don't know yet.
Now, all right, finally, with your knowledge, your wide knowledge on political history and you know, the how some leaders have transcended, you know, from the 1900s, the First World War, Second World War, leaders who were there before now, and how they fared, you know, after all of this. With what we see today with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his family and cronies being part of such issues, what do you see when you look into your political crystal ball, or historical crystal ball?
Well, I can still bring it to contemporary times. Okay. I think the president already has enough troubles with the North.
With the North?
Yes.
Okay.
With Northern Nigeria, okay. with the North. The last thing he wants is to pick Atiku Abubakar and try to make a scapegoat of him, because it may hurt him very badly politically. It may hurt him very, very badly. So it is better that he accepts Atiku's dog whistle job now, just going out blowing the whistle up and down. It's better let him let him keep doing it and let them keep responding to him, tit for tat, you know, from press release for press release, just like that until 2027 comes. Otherwise, if he went after Atiku now, I'm sure he would have beaten more than he can chew for a lifetime, politically speaking. Yes. Very true. He has to tread very carefully. I'm not sure the North, like I said, the president already has enough to contend with for the North. So going after Atiku will be the most politically unintelligent thing to do right now.
All right. Well, the fact still remains that the conflict of interest remains the same definition all over the world, and that borders on the fact that if you have any sort of influence, or your family members have any sort of influence while you are in power, it constitutes a conflict of interest. And what we want in Nigeria is for us to have good leaders who would, you know, show us good examples of what it means to be good leaders, especially for the young and upcoming, to understand the importance of living, you know, in the best way they can, even as we march forward into the future. Thank you so very much, Cyril Abaku, for being part of our show today.
My pleasure.
Was really indeed an incisive and interesting discussion. I would also want to thank you also very much for being part of our show today. I want to believe you enjoyed it, but please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. I'm Henry Iwebike. Thank you so very much for watching. Bye-bye from us.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.